All right, we're talking big-time pool as the Mezz West State Tour comes to town. We got Chris Santana and Oscar Dominguez in town. Guys, just tell us about this pool tournament you got going on here today.
The Mezz West State Tour is a pro-amateur pool tournament, pool tour here on the West Coast. It spans from California to Nevada and Arizona. And we're here right now on the 5th of our stops out of 16 here in Phoenix at Bull Shooters, which is in Glendale, near Phoenix, just outside of Phoenix.
And how does this tournament work? How many players you got? How do they win, or what?
Well, basically, we average between 90 and 100 players per event, and it's open to anybody, male or female. And all you need to do is pony up $65 for the entry fee. And basically, it's like a poker tournament. You know, you pay your entry fee, and it's a double elimination format. You have to lose 2 times to be knocked out, and the person standing at the end wins approximately between $1,500 and $2,000.
All right, Oscar, so somebody's watching this and they say, hey, I want to join, I want to be a part of it. What do they do? Do you just show up and have some cash?
Absolutely. Just show up the day of the event. Before noon is when we start on Saturday of the day of the event. It's a Saturday and Sunday event. And you just come up with $65 and you're ready to go.
All right, Chris, now this is the one of 2 stops you're going to make here in the Valley. Tell us when you'll be back and where you'll be.
We'll be back on the 9th and 10th, or 10th and 11th of October. We'll be back in Mesa, which is also just outside of Phoenix. We'll be at Main Street Billiards, which is a little bit of smaller venue than Bull Shooters, which is where we're at today. But it's very nice, very classy pool hall also, and we expect another big field there as well when we come back.
Now, Oscar, you touched on how you can win some money by playing in this. What's the most you can win and what's the lowest you can win?
Usually, on average, depending, we pay 1/3 of the field. So unlike poker tournaments that only pay 10% of the field, we pay 1/3 of the field. So usually it averages between $80 and $100. We always add a little bit more than your entry fee back. And the most, usually around 2,000 is where it peaks.
Now, you're not just a player, Oscar, you're also part owner, or you actually started this whole thing.
Yes, my girlfriend and I started this tour kind of like on a whim. And
look at you now.
Yeah, look at us now. Now we're averaging 90 players every event, and it's blossomed into much more than what we anticipated.
Now, Chris, you guys have players from just the West Coast, all over the country?
We have players that travel from as far as Europe and in Asia, even from Japan. We have 2 Hungarian players that have proven themselves to be top players on our tour, and very friendly guys. And we mostly have players from the West Coast, and I would say the majority of that field comes from California, because most of our stops are in California. But we do have Phoenix, and then we do have also Las Vegas.
So is this kind of like the World Series of Poker, where you start out with a whole bunch of players and you whittle it down, where, okay, we got just 2 guys on one table and here we go?
At the end of the season, yes. At the end of the season, we have a Top Gun event, which is where we get the best players that perform throughout the season. And also, it's important to note, we're basing our structure on NASCAR, how they do their points.
Okay.
So you accumulate not only cash, but points. So even if you're not making money, it's important to still make points so you can try and use that at the end of the season to get into our Top Gun event, which is much more money, fewer players, much more exclusive.
Now, talking money, we'll talk to Chris about this. You're taking part in a challenge match, which is some big-time bucks. Just tell us about that.
Yeah, I also play cash games on the side. So I'm playing a gentleman named Justin Bergman and Sky Woodward back-to-back in Vegas in about 10 days. And we're playing for $20,000 each, and the other match is for $10,000 plus side bets. So the game gets pretty juicy very quickly.
So if you see this guy out at a bar, he looks innocent, but be careful, they call him the Big O for a reason. He'll kill you on the pool table. So just tell us about that and why you chose the game of pool.
My father was actually a professional player. At one time, he was one of the best players in the world. So pool kind of was in the house, was always around the house. And I really was passionate about basketball, but I stopped growing. So I decided to try my luck at pool. And
trust me, I know exactly how you feel in that one situation. Now, Chris, what is it about pool that you think just makes it so much fun? I mean, I like it because it's the one sport where height doesn't matter. But, you know, I watched The Color of Money, and that was a great movie, and I get into it, and it's just something about, you know, taking a guy on one-on-one, and it's just you and him on the table. Yeah, why do you think it's having a resurgence here in the United States, and why it's so popular elsewhere?
Well, the appeal of pool, for the most part, for most people, they don't even realize it. It's a very mysterious kind of game. It's like, it's played in dark pool halls with dramatic lighting, and you've got really interesting characters from people who want to swindle you for $1 or $2, and then there's just guys that want to teach you, they want to, you know, encourage you to get better. And then you have the tour where we're seeing the whole spectrum of players, mostly honest, hardworking people. But you still got some characters on the side, and that's what really makes the game interesting, is that you never know what you're going to run into. And the game itself is probably the most difficult game there is in the planet. It's constantly challenging you physically and mentally. And I've had a great experience learning since I've started about 13 years ago.
And I'd like for both of you guys to answer this question. We'll start with you. Can something like this, a tournament like this, help revitalize or rejuvenate the sport here in the United States?
Absolutely. The sport is suffering here in the United States, but we're trying to be the forefront. We're trying to set the example for what pools should be, how it should be run, how it should be promoted and advertised, and how it should be brought to the rest of the country. We're bringing pool back by starting grassroots pool halls, getting the pool halls to get more players in, attract people to just watch even, because we do, you know, we do live streaming, we have live coverage of our events. So it's not just about playing; it's also being a part of the sport in any way you can. And we definitely see that it's creating a resurgence in the United States that hasn't been seen in about 20 years.
Yeah, I agree with what Chris was saying. I travel the world to compete at all the major events, and you see the popularity in Japan and China and Singapore, and it's overwhelming how popular it is. I've been stopped in shopping malls in the Philippines because they just saw me play a match on TV, and it's surreal. It's a real legitimate sport out there, and it was very big in the United States, but I feel like a lot of distractions, a lot of other sports really got in the way and took over. But I think this is a great step forward to revitalizing the sport in the United States, and we're doing our part the best we can on a smaller scale, and we have some big plans ahead of us.
All right, Chris, so if somebody's watching this and they say, hey, you know, I'm interested, I want to get some more information, what website can they go to?
They can go to MezzWestStateTour.com. It's the name of our tour and then just .com at the end.
So here it is right here, the name of this tour right here, and then .com at the end.
Yes. And from there, you can find out about our entire schedule of events, where our next tour will be at, who the players are, who's in the lead, who's the main cash players, and you can see results from past events as well.
Once again, you touched on coming back to Mesa, Arizona later in the year, and people can still sign up for that, and they can play in that tournament. And
yeah, they can sign up the day of. We don't take signups prior. Okay. We take signups first come, first serve. We expect that to be a very big field, so if you're a pool player out there and you want to see what the tour's about, or maybe you haven't picked up a cue in a long time, we're definitely bringing it back. So come to Mesa, October 10th and 11th, I believe is when it is.
And you can, if you don't want to play but just want to watch, you can just show up and watch for free.
You can show up and watch for free. You can also watch online from anywhere in the world.